Have you ever wondered why successful people always get what they want, but you don't? Stop right now. In the next 10 minutes, I am going to reveal 5 psychological habits that help people overcome challenges and achieve success that you can learn from today. Don't miss any of these. Now let's get started. Habit 1, long-term thinking. Curious opening, true story. If you had a choice between $1 million today, or 1 cent doubled every day for 30 days, which would you choose? Most people would choose $1 million. But if you look closely, day 10, you only have $5.12. Day 20, you have $5.243. But by day 30, you have over $5 million. The lesson? Long-term thinking is a quiet power, but over time, it produces incredible results. The story of Jeff Bezos, the future billionaire. In 1994, while most Americans were still buying books at traditional bookstores, Jeff Bezos, an engineer working on Wall Street, quit a 6-figure job to start a website selling books online. Family and friends called him crazy. The media mocked, who would buy a book without holding it in their hands? But Jeff doesn't look to next year. He looks 20 years. He once famously said, "I didn't build Amazon to be a big company today. I built it so that 20 years from now, it will be the backbone of global e-commerce." And today, Amazon doesn't just sell books. It sells everything. It operates a global logistics chain. And it generates over $500 billion in revenue each year. So how do successful people think long-term? Long-term thinking is more than just thinking ahead. It's a way of life, where everyday action is connected to a larger future goal. 1. At work. Successful people don't choose jobs just for the high salary, they choose them for the potential for growth. They are willing to work for free, learn new skills, or switch to an industry that no one understands, because they know that their self-worth today is their greatest asset 10 years from now. For example, Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, spent years working on unknown projects, such as the Chrome browser, when no one believed it would replace Internet Explorer. But it was Chrome that brought him to the top of Google. 2. In finance, ordinary people think in terms of spending. Successful people think in terms of investing. They are willing to delay buying new cars, new phones, to save money to buy stocks, real estate, or potential startups. They understand, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Warren Buffett didn't get rich by luck. He started investing at age 11. And his fortune only really exploded after age 50, thanks to his super long-term financial thinking. 3. In learning and development, successful people don't study to pass exams. They study to live better 10 years later. They constantly read books, learn foreign languages, practice critical thinking and soft skills, whether they are CEOs or students. They all spend 1 to 2 hours/day to upgrade themselves. Bill Gates still reads 50 books a year. Elon Musk learned how to design rockets from books. 4. In relationship, successful people invest time in deep relationships, not social connections. They stay in touch with mentors, build teams, take care of their families, because they know, success is not an individual race. Why is long-term thinking rare? Because today's world is a world of quick rewards. Browsing TikTok for 15 seconds is boring. Post photos to get likes immediately. When faced with difficulties, give up, because doing something else is easier. But successful people understand that everything of value takes time. The Chinese bamboo tree grows only a few centimeters in the first 5 years. But by the 6th year, it has grown 30 meters in just a few weeks. How to practice long-term thinking. 1. Your life 10 years from now. Oh, where do you live? What do you do? How much do you earn? Oh, then ask, does every action today bring me closer to that? 2. Focus on the system, not the results. Oh, instead of "I want $1 million," think, "I need to build a small fortune every day." 3. Dare to ignore the easy. Oh, stop getting caught up in instant results, like drama, junk apps, or shopping temptations. But there is one thing that stops you from pursuing your long-term goals: emotions. When you fail, worry, lose patience, you will want to give up. So, habit 2, control your thoughts, the key to overcome all limitations. If you can't control your thoughts, you can't control your life. There is a story about a man named Arjun. He was born and raised in a poor slum in the suburbs of Mumbai. As a child, Arjun faced countless obstacles: a dysfunctional family, a poor education, and a prejudiced society. Every day, he left his house to the sounds of shouting, honking cars, and the smell of garbage. But in his mind, there was a dream no one could see: to study at MIT and become an inventor who would change the world. Sounds far-fetched, right? A kid with no money, no connections, no background dares to dream of going to Harvard, MIT? But the only difference between Arjun and millions of kids in the same neighborhood is, he knows how to control his thoughts. When his friends laughed at his dream, Arjun did not get angry. He just smiled and whispered, "They laugh now, but they will listen later." Every night, instead of whining, he read under the streetlight. Whenever he felt tired, instead of giving up, he told himself, "Feelings are just signals, not facts." Arjun's secret is not intelligence or luck. It is the ability to control the flow of thoughts. Did you know? Our brains generate over 60,000 thoughts a day. But 95% of them are repetitive. And most of them are negative. Successful people don't have fewer negative thoughts than you. They simply don't let them control their behavior. Arjun understood that thoughts are the seeds of action. If you keep sowing seeds of fear, doubt, jealousy, don't be surprised when your life grows weeds. He started to build a disciplined positive thinking habit, keeping a feeling diary, using affirmations, self-affirming statements every morning, and most importantly, learning to stop before reacting. Have you ever noticed that a negative thought usually leads to 3 things: bad feelings, wrong actions, and unfortunate consequences? That is why successful people do not let negative thoughts take over their minds for too long. Stop and think: the last time you were upset with someone, how long did it take you to calm down? An hour? A day? A week? Successful people shorten that time to minutes, even seconds. That's the power of mind control. Coming back to Arjun. After many years of trying, he got a full scholarship to MIT. His story became the subject of many international newspapers. But what he always emphasized in interviews was not academics or IQ, but, "I don't let my thoughts control me. I control them." So, how can you also practice this mental habit? 1. Practice mindfulness every day. Even 5 minutes makes a big difference. 2. Track the negative thoughts. Write them down. And ask yourself, is this true? Or is it just a passing emotion? 3. Create a thought filter. Before you believe something, ask, does this thought help me move forward? 4. Surround yourself with positive energy, music, books, videos, people. What you take in becomes what you think. In short, controlling your thoughts is not about blinding yourself to your emotions, it is about looking directly at them and choosing smarter actions. It is the skill of the silent winner. In every battle, whether with the world or with yourself, the one who controls your thoughts controls the final outcome. Want to be successful? Start by mastering your inner world. Habit 3, stay consistent with your goal, even if the world turns against you. Success is not for the fastest, but for those who never give up. There was a man who was rejected 15 times in a row when he applied for a job. During each interview, he left the room with the same words, "We'll call you back." But he never got a call back. Many people would fall at the 5th time, give up at the 10th, or start doubting themselves at the 13th. But not him. He still woke up early every day, rewrote his resume word for word, and practiced interview questions like an actor learning a script because he believes that when the goal is clear enough, no matter how many times the world turns its back, it cannot make him give up. You see, successful people are not those who never fail, but those who keep going even when the whole world thinks they are going the wrong way. Every time they fail, they don't ask, "Why couldn't I do it?" They ask, "What can I learn to do better next time?" Persistence is not stubbornness. It is not about rushing headlong down a wrong path. Persistence means you are willing to change your methods, but never change your destination. When the door is blocked, they look for a window. When the window is locked, they think of a way to climb the wall. And when all roads are blocked, they build a new road. Success stories always begin with a dream, but only end with persistence. Imagine you are standing in the middle of a forest, in thick fog, seeing nothing but a few steps ahead. In your hand you have only a compass, the goal you set at the beginning. When a normal person loses direction, they will wander around, get tired and give up. But successful people? They continue to walk, step by step, relying on that compass, until the light flashes at the end of the forest. Have you ever noticed that the people we admire the most, from entrepreneurs to artists to scientists, have one thing in common? Not a superior IQ. Not natural talent, but an unwavering tenacity. They don't quit when everyone else does. The world will always have reasons to give up: failure, criticism, comparison, fear, pressure. But successful people know, every time I don't give up, I get one step closer to my goal. So, how do you cultivate perseverance? 1. Write your goals down on paper, not in your head. When you can see what you're working toward every day, you're less likely to get sidetracked. 2. Recall why you started, especially on days when you feel like giving up. The reason you started is the fuel for your journey. 3. Break down big goals into specific steps. That way, each completed step becomes a small, motivating victory. 4. Stay away from negative noise, advice and judgment from people who have never walked the path you choose. 5. And finally, look to the past to see how far you've come, not how far you have to go. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of thousands of days of not giving up. Whether it's the days you get rejected, the days you feel exhausted, or the days you doubt yourself, because the persistent never lose, they just don't win yet. Habit 4. Master your emotions. Not to become cold, but to be wiser. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust the sails. In a tense meeting room, when all eyes are on the leader, just one uncontrolled sentence can ruin a multi-million-dollar deal. And in that situation, a calm person who knows how to control his emotions can turn the whole game around. There was a man who stood before hundreds of shareholders, in the midst of a company that had just gone through a media scandal. Emotions were running high, and pressure was coming from all sides: investors, the press, employees, and the public. But instead of getting angry or defensive, he stepped up to the podium, looked everyone in the eye, took a deep breath, and said, "I'm not here to blame. I'm here to take responsibility." And in that moment, the whole atmosphere changed. Successful people are not emotionless. They are successful because they use their emotions as tools, not letting their emotions use them. They still worry. They still hurt. They still get angry, like we all do, but they don't make decisions when they are in a state of heightened emotion. Think of emotions as a wave. The average person gets swept away when a big wave comes. But successful people? They don't try to stop the wave. They learn to surf. Do you remember the last time you lost your temper? Maybe it's an argument with a loved one, a criticism that drives you crazy, a negative comment on social media that keeps you up at night, and then you regret saying something so hastily. Successful people know that emotional outbursts are often too costly. So instead of reacting immediately, they pause, breathe, reassess the situation, and respond rationally. That's not weakness. That's the height of bravery. One of the clearest signs of psychological maturity is when you are no longer controlled by things outside your control. Hurtful words, unpleasant situations, negative people, you no longer try to change them. You choose not to be controlled by them. A successful businessman once said, "I can't control the market, but I can control how I react to it." And you know what? That doesn't just apply to finances, it applies to life. Mastering emotions is an art. And successful people are master artists at painting calm in the midst of chaos. They don't let anger dictate their words. They don't let fear dictate their actions. They don't let hurt dictate their thinking. Instead of avoiding negative emotions, they look at them and ask, "What is this emotion trying to teach me?" They turn fear into preparation, sadness into motivation, anger into determination. So how do you start practicing emotional mastery? There is no set formula, but there is a general path. Take some time to observe yourself. When you are angry, what do you do? When you are hurt, how do you react? Write it down. Recognize it. Understanding yourself is the first step. Stop reacting quickly. Create space between the stimulus and the action. Just 10 seconds of deep breathing can change the outcome of an entire conversation. Practice mindfulness, through meditation, through journaling, through phone-free walks. When the mind is awake, emotions become friends, not enemies. Remember, true power comes not from suppressing emotions, but from mastering and transforming them. Just as a good musician can play both happy and sad music, successful people can live fully with all their emotions, without letting them control their lives. You don't have to be cold to be successful. You just have to be someone who doesn't let your emotions ruin what you've spent your life building. Habit 5, persist under pressure, not because you're strong, but because you refuse to give up. No one sees the sleepless nights you've had. They just see your overnight success, and then call it luck. They often ask, "How do you succeed?" but rarely ask, "How do you tolerate so much failure?" Success is not the spotlight on stage. It is the quiet times when you stand up after falling without anyone noticing. It is the days when you feel like giving up, but you continue because there is no way back. It is the time when you are exhausted, but you still turn on your computer because the deadline is coming. It is the time when the whole world doubts you, but you still believe. A man once walked into an empty office with only $200 in his pocket, an old laptop, and a vague belief that I can change something. In the early days of business, every email sent was a hope, and every email left unanswered was a stab in the self-esteem. Many nights, all I wanted to do was delete everything and go back to a stable job. But then one day, someone responded. And then the first client. And from a small contract, a big project. From a big project, $1 million company. You know, successful people are not luckier than you. They are just more persistent than you at the point when you choose to give up. The difference sometimes lies not in talent, not in intelligence, but in the ability to endure and continue, even when there is no more faith from the outside. There are moments in life when you feel like everything is against you. Doors are closing. Plans are failing. Encouragement is fading. But that's when you need to remember, pressure isn't there to break you. It's there to sharpen you. Successful people understand that stress is an inevitable part of the journey. They don't ask for an easy road. They train their legs to be strong enough to keep going even when the road is rough. They accept rejection, because they know that one rejection does not define their worth. They accept being laughed at, because they know that time will tell. They accept loneliness, because they know that not everyone sees the vision they are pursuing. Someone once said, "The more pressure you endure, the greater the depth you will reach." Successful people are not afraid of pressure. They welcome it. They turn pressure into motivation, pain into lessons, and challenges into stepping stones. And they don't run from bad days. They learn to walk through them, one step at a time. slowly but surely. So how do you develop the habit of persevering under pressure? You don't have to wait until you're perfect. Just keep moving forward. Every time you choose not to give up, you're adding another page to your own success story. When you are tired, rest. But don't stop. When you fail, learn. But don't give up. When you're scared, take small steps. But don't stand still. Success does not come from giant leaps. It comes from thousands of small steps, repeated in silence, patience, and persistence. You don't have to be the strongest person. You just have to be the one who doesn't give up the easiest. And that's true strength. If you're having a rough time, remember, successful people have been there too. They're not special. They just choose to keep going when everyone else has stopped. You have just gone through the journey of discovering 5 psychological habits that have helped millions of people change their lives. Not everyone is born strong, steadfast, or invincible. But they choose to think differently, act differently, and persevere in ways that most people cannot. Success doesn't come overnight. It comes from every thought you harbor, every action you repeat, every time you refuse to give up when you feel like giving up. You may not be able to control the world out there, but you can absolutely control how you react to it. And that's where success starts, from within you. So, don't just listen and forget. Pick a habit today. Practice it for a week. And then look back and see how your life has changed. If you find this video valuable, please like to help the algorithm bring it to more people. If you have any thoughts or experiences to share, please comment below. I always read every line. And if you don't want to miss any valuable content about thinking, self-development and success, please subscribe to the channel now. Don't just be a spectator. Be a doer. Success is waiting for you. Just one decision away.